to the homestead. Well, it's cold, and this morning we are going to try to move these buckets that are behind me over to the high tunnel that we are putting together. They were full with water, not full because we have a hole 5 inches up, but they were 5 inches full of water. So we've tilted some of them, leaned them up against the tree, and tried to do different things in order to get the water to drain so we can put them on the dolly and move them, because they'll be way too heavy with all that water in them if we don't try to drain them first. And so that's kind of what I'm doing today. And I'm going to go ahead and tilt the last two that have the dirt in them, and we'll get them emptied out as best as possible as well. They already started to drain this one by holding it up, and really no water's coming out. But that one's pouring water out. I think I went too high with that one. If you didn't see our last video, well, not the last video, but the last time we used these buckets, and you're wondering what have I saved all of these cartons for, the reason is because we use these as a self-watering garden. We put these down on the bottom. They have 2 holes on the top, 2 holes on the bottom of each one of these containers of different sizes. We set them up all around the bottom, then we pour the dirt on top. When it rains or whatever, water fills the bucket, it fills the water bottle, and then they just slowly drain out as the water dries in the bucket. They just keep watering the bucket, and so supposedly you don't have to water as often. We have a tube with a float in it, so we can drop the float down and be able to see if there's water in there by pulling the stick out and being able to see how much water is in each of the buckets, and if we need to actually manually fill the buckets with water. So far we haven't had to do it. The flowers that grew, we planted last spring, and this fall flowers started coming up in some of these buckets, and they went through the heat of the summer and we never watered them. So it's simply watering itself. It's pretty cool. With the garden, I don't know how that's going to work, and I certainly know it's not going to self-water itself inside the high tower itself, so I will have to use the water. According to the water company, it's been a month since we ordered the water, and they said that they're going to start digging the trench for the water to come down to our property next week. So God willing, that will be true, and we will have water here on the property starting in a couple of weeks. Of course, it won't be plumbed through the property. We will have to use a garden hose until we get around to trenching and adding the pipes, because all the city or county is doing is bringing the water to us. From that point on, it's our responsibility to get it wherever we need it and want it. So right away, we're just going to use garden hoses, and we'll just probably have to buy several of them because of the distance that we need to go. But eventually we will have it plumbed down the side of the property and down the middle, and be able to attach water to things we need water to, and put faucets throughout the property. Anyway, once these are light enough, we'll take them over there. We will use the dolly because these buckets are not light, and the empty ones, of course, we can move by hand. Anyway, it's just a little project, but it needs to get done. As you can see, water is still draining out of this other tub over here. Part of the reason why we're doing a lot of these little menial tasks these days, not only because of the weather, but Lee's body is really hurting these days. And so we're trying to do some lighter things. You know, we're not young, and we push and push and push ourselves, and sometimes we push too much. When Lee was younger, he ended up crushing 11 vertebrae in his spine. So he has some good days and some bad days, and we've recorded a lot of his good days, but unfortunately the bad days are setting in because the weather is changing. It's wet, it's cold, and when that happens, you know, his body just hurts a lot worse. And so we're doing a lot of these small tasks right now. And that cat's trying to climb on me again. I'm waving my hand like this to kind of keep her from jumping. Trying to train her. It's not easy. Anyhow, I'm going to try to move these tubs. I'm going to start with the light ones. I got the dolly, and I'm going to take them over to the high tower, or high tunnel. Don't know why I want to say tower. Anyway, then the ones that we already placed in there to hold down the sheeting, they've got about 2 inches of water in them. All of them do. So we're going to need to drain that out and have Lee put a hole in each one as a drain hole, because none of those have drain holes, which means that they will just keep filling up, and we do not want that. If we're able to, we might go ahead and cover it and with the plastic and the screening. We don't even know if we have enough screening, but we'll give it a shot. Anyway, let me get these things moved, and we'll check out the high tunnel and the water buckets that are over there, which we'll be planting buckets later. See that? That's exactly the reason why it was so heavy to pick up. Oh my gosh, it's so much better. Okay, that one was even lighter than the other one, so I think the other one still has water in it. So when I get these other buckets over there, I'm going to go ahead and try to eliminate some of that water in that first bucket I took and see if that helps. I got 2 more, one's empty, one's full, so let's do this. Okay, well, it's been a few hours since I moved those buckets. You don't know that because you're just watching. But it's gotten really cloudy and gray clouds to boot. And so you can't see any of the sunlight coming through. It's also getting really, really cold. Neighbor walked by. We spent some good time visiting with the neighbor. And then we went in and watched a little bit of television, ate some lunch. And then we just kind of just sat there watching TV, playing games. So back to work we go, and when I say we, I mean me, and I'm going in here and I'm going to rearrange these buckets, empty the water out of some, and then put these other buckets inside. Going to go ahead and set them up, maybe pour the dirt in them, get them all set. We are not covering it with plastic and screen today. We're debating upon whether or not to do it at all until like January or February, because I don't plan on growing anything in this thing this winter. And in that case, there's no reason to put the plastic to use yet, because we don't want the plastic to already start weathering. But we do want them in early enough, the plastic on early enough before the early spring planting season, which I think, not positive, but I think it's February. I think inside you can start just a little bit earlier because they don't actually get the frost landing on them. And Baxter's out here with me. Got to kind of keep an eye on him so he doesn't wander off into the thorns and thistles. And the cat's out here somewhere as well. So anyway, let's get to work. Don't know if you can see this, but let me see, because I can't see it now. I'm gonna have to get those stickers out. I turned my back. He walked right into the thorns. They're into his fur now. There's 2 of them right here. It's the cacaburs. The cacaburs wrap all around the hair. I don't want to cut this part out of his hair. They grab a hold and there's burrs on all sides of them. Eclipse. No, no. Eclipse, don't go in there. I'm afraid we're going to end up having to cut them out, take a big chunk out of this part of his hair. I shouldn't have let him run around on his own. Eclipse is in there now. I hope she doesn't get thorns in her. Her hair's short, so they're easier to pull out. I'm going to have to go get Lee's help. I'm twisting them deeper. I'm trying. I can get some out, but they're rolling. I'll be back. Okay, Lee came to the rescue and he got the 2 cacaburs out of Baxter's fur right there. There was not a third one, so it must have fell out when he was coming to me, or it was a leaf. I got Eclipse trying to jump my leg. Anyhow, let's get back to work. Okay, they're all there. I'm going to dump the dirt in, fill it up. One of these bags, which is 2 cubic yards, fills one of these buckets. This bag has little teeny tiny holes in it, you know. So when it rained, the moisture went inside the bag. Now the bag's extraordinarily heavy because it's wet, wet dirt. Okay, I put straw on top of this, and the reason I put that straw there is because I heard from somebody on the internet that you shouldn't leave your dirt barren like I've been doing. So I'm gonna go ahead, since I have all that straw, to just put a nice cushion of straw right here to keep the dirt, whatever. I don't know what it does with the dirt, but just to keep it just like this until we're ready to plant. Okay, I covered 3 of the buckets that had just dirt with the straw. I filled 2 so far. I've got 1 more to fill that is ready to go. Lee's gonna drill holes in the rest of the buckets, so then I'll have those 2 that I can fill. I have more bottles up near the coach in a big trash can, so I can pop holes in those bottles and put them in here, and if I need more. But right now I'm just going to do this one last one that it's ready to go with all the bottles. I'll throw some of the bottles in the tub next to it because I think I've got too many bottles in here, but I never know until I start setting them up right whether I have too many or too little. So let's go ahead and keep going. Put my fill tank in. This is, I think I already told you, but maybe I didn't, but this is where if it's not raining, you would pour the water in here. It would flood the bottom. You would just put as much water that it will absorb into those bottles and go up, leaving a little air gap in between. So this right here will test it, and you'll be able to see when it's real wet how much water you have in it. And I don't know if you can see the one right beside me, but this one right here, you can see the drip. That's from the dirt one with the water. And it really does work through the summer. I don't know if you can see me, but that's okay, I'll just keep talking. So it doesn't matter what kind of jars you use. You can use even this as long as it has a screw tight lid. And then you put 2 holes in the bottoms and 2 holes in the top, and you just set them down in there. When you fill it, the water goes inside this bottle, and you may not have to water for months, depending on how hot and how dry your buckets get. So we'll see. Would be great.
All right, drilling drain holes in the planting tubs. The shorter tubs, we're drilling them closer to the ground, obviously, because they're not going to contain as much water as the taller tubs do.
Okay, that's all I can do today. We still need some pipe and to go into those buckets to make sure we can fill a fill pipe. We don't have the material to do that yet. Plus, I have enough room for at least four more buckets down the line on each side, so another 8. I do have 8 buckets. They're around all the cottages and they have plants in them. So maybe instead of taking those and bringing them in here, I should just get more of these buckets. The buckets are only $2 or $3 a piece. You get them from farmers because they hold, what are those? Proteins, salt, minerals, and it's for cattle. These ones are for cattle. They're big. They make them all different sizes. Small ones for rabbits and whatnot. Anyway, so I can get some more and then fill them. I do have a bunch of bottles that are in the trash can up front. I don't know how many I have, probably just enough to do 1 or 2 more buckets. I do have the 2 empty buckets at the front that I can do next. But like I said, I need the fill first. So, with that said, I'm done for the day. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and share and press that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And we will see you next time on the homestead. Bye-bye now.